Hello and welcome back to Justin Talks Villa. Right, I wasn't planning on doing this today. Very strange. So here is what has happened. Last week I was contacted by the Overlap and I was asked to appear on today's recording, that's Tuesday the 27th, season review episode of the Fans Forum. To which I was over the moon about, and I said yes. And I finished work yesterday, and I've travelled up to Manchester, and I'm currently sitting in a Premier Inn. And then, unfortunately, due to the terrible events last night in Liverpool, late last night, I was contacted by the producer of the show, and correctly, they have decided to cancel today's record because it didn't feel right. And I totally agree. And it's going to be rescheduled for another time. So hopefully I'll be able to still come up and talk to them and appear on that show. It's for somebody that does what I do, it's a fantastic opportunity for me. And I totally back their decision to make the call. It's not right to do anything really like that today. So I was also contemplating doing a season review of my own just about the Villa, but I don't really want to do that because I wanted to do something a little bit different. And it's going to be sort of a review, but it's not going to be a review of as you would normally see. I just want to really go through, I suppose, season reflections. That's what I want to say. I want to reflect on the season that we've had and what I think we should all be grateful for. Not preaching to anybody by any stretch. I am, as everybody knows who follows me on this channel, very positive. I'll try and see the positives in all situations, even the darkest of situations, sometimes to my issue, to my detriment, should I say. So yeah, I just wanted to go through my expectations. Let's start there. At the start of the season, when we did our Up the Villa season preview, I said 5th place in the league. I said quarterfinals of the Champions League, and I had us to win the FA Cup standard. I always back us every season to win the FA Cup. So we weren't far off, really, my expectations of the season. I mean, I'm not going to dwell on the two obvious poor performances that stand out for everybody. Obviously, last weekend's and the semi-final at Crystal Palace at Wembley, because it's absolutely pointless. It's been talked to death about. We all know that those two games were poor from us, and if we'd have turned up, things could have been very differently. But I'm not going to let those two performances overshadow what has been once again a fabulous season for me. And I'm only talking for me because this is my season reflection video. I am over the moon with where we are. I'm over the moon with what I've seen. I have experienced things this season I never thought I'd ever see. Champions League nights. I went away to Monaco, which was just 6 seasons ago. I took my daughter to Rotherham away. If you'd have told me that night that in 6 seasons' time I'll be flying down to Nice to watch Aston Villa play in the Champions League against Monaco, I'd have thought you'd have lost the plot. So yes, we all know the journey we've been on. We all know where we're at, and we're all very grateful for where we are. Excuse me. So, things to be grateful for. Let's start, shall we? I think we should start at the very, very top. So these two guys, obviously over the last few years since they walked through the door, a lot's been said about them, and I don't think I've ever heard a negative word, and rightly so. They came in with a mission. They came in, I mean, that was one of the very first pictures they took on the pitch with the European Cup. And when you think now, that picture doesn't look strange at all. Aston Villa, our owners holding the European Cup. If you said now that's our aspiration is to win the European Cup, you'd say, yeah, definitely on the. It definitely could happen. 100% that could happen with the investment, the way we go in, the infrastructure, the management, the squad. Quarterfinals this year. I'm not saying it's going to happen soon, but there's definitely a pathway through to being a serious contender for this trophy. But when you think of the context of when that picture was taken, when we was in the Championship, then you can realise just how amazing these two men are. Their continued support in the club. I mean, we are debt-free. So important. I mean, forget about all the financial fair plays, the profit and sustainability rules. These two men make sure that Aston Villa Football Club is debt-free. So we don't carry huge amounts of debts like Manchester United do. They've just transformed the club from top to bottom. Their desire, their deep pockets, obviously, their connections, their appointments have been pretty much spot on throughout the whole club. So yes, I'm going to start with thanking these two guys, and I hope they stay for a very, very long time because I can't imagine what Aston Villa would look like if they walked away. So, what should we move on to next? Let's move on to this next. The team. Obviously, this is just a representation of the squad. This squad of players that we've assembled, I think I can categorically say that is the best squad of players I've ever seen play at Aston Villa Football Club in my time following Villa. And that's back to the late 80s. I would never compare them to the European Cup winning team. But as far as modern football goes with squad systems, then, I've never seen a quality and depth of player and squad that we've seen here ever in my lifetime. The players we've able to recruit, retain, has been sensational. I mean, at the start of last season, we obviously lost Douglas Luiz. And at that point, we were sort of panicking a little bit, thinking, okay, right, we had a good season. We've qualified for the Champions League, and now we're having to let one of our best players go. We lost Moussa Diaby, who, whilst you wouldn't have probably classed him as one of our better players, his contributions, both goals and assists-wise, were up there with the best we had. So two big gaps to fill, and we went into the season, obviously, a little bit trepidatious, thinking, these extra games in the Champions League, albeit we'd been in Europe, but we hadn't been in that level of game before. We were all panicking, weren't we? But the way this squad has stepped up, Yuri Tielemans, double player of the year, has just seamlessly stepped into Douglas Luiz's shoes. And it just goes to show you, we're facing another summer of uncertainty, of upheaval, of comings and goings. We as it stands, we don't know who's going to go out of the squad we've got. We've obviously got heavy rumours on Emi Martinez, Ollie Watkins, Boubacar Kamara, Luca Dean, Matty Cash. There's even rumours circulating about Morgan Rogers. I don't think I can't think of a player in our squad that I haven't heard a rumour about that's available or somebody's after. Or in one way, that means that we're doing something right, that all of our players are desirable and clubs all over Europe want them, which is great. And in another way, it's very sad that a team in our position that has done what we've done financially as well, record sponsorships, record revenue, sold out every single game, Champions League money coming in, Adidas deal coming in, record shirt sales. We can't do any more than we're doing, yet we're still facing, having to sell players to to comply. So it's incredibly frustrating. But what I would say is, don't panic, don't worry. We've got to trust that the team behind the scenes have got a plan. They will have a plan. They'll have a plan for all eventualities. They would have had a plan for every single position we would have finished in, should it have been Europa League, which it was, Champions League, which we hoped it would be, Conference League, or even, God forbid, we'd have dropped out the European places. There would have been a pretty stringent set of things that they were going to do and implement should either of or any of those circumstances come to fruition. We have dropped into the second tier of European football, so I don't see it as being a massive disaster. Yes, I totally understand it's not the revenue streams of the Champions League, but it's by no means a disaster. So we have to let the summer play out. We know there's going to be early sales. We know we've got to hit a certain place financially by June the 30th, which is looming pretty quickly. So 4 weeks to make sure we're compliant, which we saw last year happen. So I expect 2 or 3 players to leave fairly soon. And then we can draw a line under where we are, and then we can start to push on and build a squad capable of competing on all fronts next season. And that's what I firmly believe will happen. And the reason I firmly believe that will happen is very, very simple. Very simple. The most important set of people at Aston Villa behind our owners. I have never trusted people with my football club to the point, and I'm going to say it, that I don't care who they sell out of our team. And I mean that absolutely wholeheartedly. No one would worry me if these 3 guys decided that was the right thing to do. Unai Emery, Monchi, and Damien Vidagani. These 3 men are the only 3 people I do not want to see leave my football club anytime soon. They are the most important cog of everything that's happening at Villa on the field. So if they deem, and I'll give you the worst case scenario, if they deem that selling Morgan Rogers, Boubacar Kamara, or anyone else that you can think of that you would not want to see leave, Ollie Watkins, Emi Martinez, we love all of these players, and none of us want to see any of them leave. But if these 3 guys sanction any deal over the next 4 weeks for any of those players, I trust that they have a plan. I trust that they can see, because they are the only ones amongst the higher ranking people in the financial side of Aston Villa that will all sit around a table and they'll be able to plot what financially they are looking at. They can see the big picture. They see the whole picture. We don't. We don't see that. We don't see how much money we've got to raise. We don't see where the wage bill has got to be. We don't see of where we've got to be at a certain date. We don't see any of that. These guys do. And they know exactly where we need to be at a certain date. So whatever they decide to do, and I've never said that about any management team at Aston Villa in my life, trust these 3 guys implicitly. And as bleak as it might look when players leave, like he did last year, wait until the window closes. Then we can judge where we're at. Then we can see the work they have done. Because all that matters is when that window closes, we don't face any sanctions, we are fully compliant, and we have a squad that is capable of challenging for all competitions we are entering next season. That is it. And whatever squad we are left with, the man in the middle, Unai Emery, we know he will get the best out of those players. So that is why I am grateful for these three guys to be at my football club. So we'll move on to talk a little bit about the failure of qualifying for the Champions League. We're all bitterly disappointed. Me personally, obviously, putting aside the circumstances behind the failure to get the point we needed at the weekend with the absolutely atrocious refereeing decision at Old Trafford and the poor performance by the players, we, you know, we missed out by a hair's breadth. And I think what saddens me is the main reason we as a fan base are sad. Yes, we know that we're going to be not playing against the cream of Europe, but that particularly doesn't overly worry me. The reason we're all upset is because of the money side of it. And how many times do we say it? The money side of football, the money side of football. We need more money to come in. We need to do this. It's such a shame that we are dominated this day and age by money, because the Europa League is a fantastic competition. And if we won it, it would be incredible. So, I went into the game on the weekend more than happy. Had we have won, had we have qualified for Champions League, brilliant. I couldn't have been more happier. To wear this on my arm this season has been incredible. See the games I've seen, incredible. But we have no divine right. Nobody has divine right to finish anywhere. You finish where you deserve to finish. And I think ultimately, we're probably just about where we deserve to be. But the Europa League, it gives us an opportunity to win a trophy. Could anybody out there with their hand on heart think we would have a serious, serious chance of winning the Champions League next season, especially going into another season having to sell our better players, or some of them? If we'd have had to sell nobody this summer and we could have brought in two or three world-class talents, which had we have qualified, we could have maybe have done, then we would have said, yeah, well, maybe we could have done, maybe, but it would have been incredibly difficult. Teams like Arsenal have been in it for decades and haven't got anywhere near winning it. A couple of finals, that's it. So this competition, the Europa League, for one very special reason, again, a bit of a recurring theme here, because of this man here, has got the best record in this competition of any man in the world living today or has ever lived. He has got a love affair with this trophy, and we now enter it. 3 seasons, we've qualified for all 3 of the European competitions, and that is sensational. Absolutely sensational. 6 seasons ago, we were getting promoted out of the Championship. 6. And for the last 3, or the last 2 and the next one, so out of the last 7 seasons, 3 of them will be in Europe. You just can't get your head around it. I think sometimes we are in danger of forgetting where we've come from, and being so used to being up the top now over the last 2-3 years, you sort of think, okay, we're there now. Why haven't we won a trophy? Why haven't we finished in the Champions League places? We've failed. We have not failed. We have succeeded. We have absolutely succeeded where we're at. And I can't wait for next season. I'm absolutely buzzing for next season. We go into 3 cup competitions that we have a massive chance of winning one of them at least. And we know the importance Unai holds for the league, and that we have to keep our form going in that. So we are not going to take our eye off the ball in the league either. So it's going to be a special season again. So I've got lots and lots of stuff to be grateful for. So this is another reason to be grateful of where we're at. So that's covered the owners, the management, Europe, and the squad. So we'll move on to the next thing to be grateful for. This is a twofold thing. This magnificent theatre of football that we all go to every other week. Our church, where we go and pray to the gods of Aston Villa, and our fans. Some of the greatest fans I've ever met in my life are Aston Villa fans. Some of the greatest people I know are Aston Villa fans. Yes, we all know a moaner. Yes, we all know the bloke that sits behind us and he shouts and he abuses them and he's not happy and why didn't he do this? But he's still passionate. He still loves the club. Still wants us to be successful. He still puts his hand in his pocket, pays his money, and goes and watches the team. And even all those hundreds of thousands of fans that can't get to the games, they can't afford to go. They still love the club as much as I love the club. They live in a different country. They can't get to the games. And they still love the club as much as I love the club. And this band of friends that a lot of them will never meet. They're a special, special group of people. Yes, there's moaners in our fan base. Yes, there's people that see the negative side, but that's personality trait. That's not nothing else. Deep down in every Villa fan's soul, all they want to see is Villa be successful and happy and win something. So I commend every single Villa fan in the world that watches us, listens to us, goes to one game a season or 57 games a season. They all love the club the same. No one fan is better than any other. And together we have to stay unified and try and just come together and enjoy the experience that we're currently in, because it is a special time to be a Villa fan. And we don't know how long it'll last. Football is very fickle and very cyclical as well. So things roll all the time, in and out, good and bad. So I just wanted to pay tribute to the fans. So this beautiful stadium in the heart of Aston is somewhere I have loved since the day I first saw it and the day I first went into the ground. It is a magical place that still fills me with joy every single time I arrive at Villa Park and walk towards the stadium. We've seen some fantastic improvements over the last few years, and we've got more to come with the warehouse on its way to being done. The North Stand announcement. We're just so lucky, this it's honestly, it's what we've all dreamed of all of our lives, whether you're 10 years old or 70 years old. All we've ever wanted is a successful team, a great stadium, a good match day experience, and to watch 11 people on that pitch that we are proud of, and that's where we're at. So I don't know what more we could ask for, really. So that's it from me. It was just, as I say, not really a season review, more a season reflection on what we've seen, what we've enjoyed. I want to send my thoughts and prayers to every single person involved in the terrible scenes at the Liverpool Championship parade yesterday evening. I hope everybody that's in hospital is okay and recovers. And I'm sending my love to every single person that was involved in that. And I wish you all the best in your recovery from that. And that's it from me for the season. It's been and always will be a pleasure to talk about this football club. It is, as I've said about 50 times in this video, a special, special place in my heart and in many, many people's hearts. I know some amazing people through Aston Villa, and I can't wait to see what happens next. I really can't. Next season will be full of just as much joy and anticipation as every other season I've gone into. So thank you for joining me on my journey. It's been the season that I have finally pulled the trigger on doing something on social media myself. As I say, at some point, hopefully I will be on the overlap, which will be a fantastic thing for me to do. If you haven't already, please drop this video a like, drop me a message in the comment section, and follow the channel, because I'm not stopping anytime soon. I shall continue to be positive. I shall continue to try and see every single issue that arises from all sides and give a balanced view on everything. I shall continue to try and lobby the club on anything that happens that we need to lobby the club on. But the only way you can get positive change is by having constructive talks with anybody. So thank you very much for listening. This wraps up season 24-25 for me, and I'll see you all soon. Up the mighty Villa.